Hey everyone, so I'm back with a part 3 and I will be talking in this video about my thoughts on Umar's credentials and my thoughts on the him being related to Frederick Douglass. Now, when I first heard about his credentials, I believed it because I too was a psych major in college, and you know what? It was really refreshing to hear that a black person who was basically, like this, all for the black community, like that. It was very refreshing to hear that not only were they like that, but they were for, the community. They were a psychologist. They were studying psychology, because I really do feel like in order to diagnose and dissect and, solve our problems, we have to get down to the psychology of it, the psych of it. You know what I'm saying? We have to get down to like how we transform our minds is how we understand our minds. So, and I've taken psychology for the African American experience, had a black teacher teach me. She was awesome. So anyway, with his credentials, a lot of people have been asking about his credentials. When I started seeing all the Umar Johnson exposed videos, a lot of it was based not only just on the school, but some of it was based on his credentials. So he basically has said, yes, I'm this, I'm that. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm a doctor of clinical psychology. So that's why he calls himself doctor. And this is why some people don't believe he's a doctor. So I don't call him Dr. Umar Johnson anymore. I call him Umar Johnson. And I've always called him Umar Johnson, okay? But he basically has called himself a doctor of clinical psychology. He said he's a certified school psychologist. Now, you have this woman on the internet named Anti-Afro Svengalis, and she is in this psychology field. She actually did show her, degree, a printed out diploma and stuff like that. Of course, she crossed her name out because she's trying to keep her identity like a secret. But she did show definitive proof in one of her videos. It was one of her very, very early videos that she had a degree, and that this was her, and that she's actually in the psychology field. And when I started listening to her, because I actually saw her videos right after the Roland Martin thing, because she has a whole entire page basically exposing this man and how he's not a psychologist and how he's not a therapist, you know what I'm saying, and how he's just using that to con money out of the black community. And at this point, I believe that's the truth. And it's not just watching her videos, it's watching other people's videos. So before, I was all down for it, but then you had people coming out saying that, okay, he claims to got his degree from 3 different schools. He's claimed to gone to 3 different colleges. It was Millersville, Lehigh, and then PCOM, which stands for Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. And I'm like, okay, so that's where you claim to have gotten your doctorate. And he says, oh yeah, I have 6 degrees. I've gotten 2 degrees in political science, and I'm a historian, I'm this, I'm that. He basically is shoving black excellence down our throats. Hey, I have 6 degrees. That's black excellence right there. And because he talks so good, we'll believe it, because we want to believe that our people can be so great that he'll just lie and say, I have 6 degrees. He'll lie and say, I have this many degrees. He'll lie and say, I have gone to all these different schools and stuff like that. So he says that all the time, and he repeats the same thing. There's a hypnotic thing in repetition. He's repeating the same thing. He'll say, yeah, I have 6 degrees. I've gone to this school, this school, this school, that school, and I got my thing at this school, and I got my master's here. And he said this on a radio show with a woman, and she was asking him questions, and guess what? He was playing this maze with us. It was like a game of cat and mouse almost. I'm trying to see what you're saying, but they're not adding up. So he'll leave you confused thinking that, wait, what are you saying? Because even on the Roland Martin show, even on Vlad TV, he was basically finessing his words by saying, yeah, I went here, 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 here. We went to all different schools. I even tried looking up at PCOM. There was this 2-hour video that said, where a woman on the radio said he's a fraud, he's never been to PCOM. We looked him up at PCOM. She said that her cousin went to PCOM, and he wasn't there the day he was walking. He claimed to have graduated this year, but people couldn't find him. And Umar even says that you can pick up a telephone and call and verify those degrees. And young Pharaoh actually called him out. I don't pay attention to young Pharaoh. I'm just saying this is what young Pharaoh said in one of his videos. Okay, I'm not trying to name drop too many people here, but I'm just giving you proof of where these videos came from. Okay, so young Pharaoh even called him out and said, well, you told people that they could fact check you, and then you got mad when they actually fact checked you and couldn't come up with anything. And yes, I found that funny too, because I find it funny how you say, yeah, you can go look me up. And when we looked you up and got back to you and said we couldn't find anything, you call us out. You say you're reactionaries. Why are you digging so much into my credentials? Does it even matter if I have credentials? It's what I'm doing for the community. And yes, it's what you're doing for the community. Your credentials don't necessarily have to matter. We're not saying that you necessarily have to have these credentials to do something good for the community. But the thing is, and Alquan pointed this out, he said you were the one that were going around bragging that you had 6 degrees and you are a doctor of clinical psychology and that you are a certified school psychologist. You were going around bragging about yourself, hyping yourself up. You were the one who even coined yourself the Prince of Pan-Africanism. No one coined you that but yourself. Most people didn't even know that was your nickname. When I first heard of that, I'm like, who coined him that? I saw that on his Instagram page. I'm like, I didn't call him that. I didn't know people were calling him that. So I went with it. And then I found out, yeah, like no one called you that but you. And that ties into the arrogance that people were saying that you have. There was even a long video, a 1-hour video on Black Anonymous page where a woman was reading off of this essay, basically saying that we tried to look you up at PCOM, but the Umar Johnson we found at PCOM was an Umar Abdullah Johnson, and that man is Arab and married. So it's not this Umar Johnson that we know as Umar Johnson. And I find it funny because people have said that his real name isn't even Umar Johnson, it's Jermaine Shoemake. Now, granted, if he had changed his name, he has every right to do that, okay? You can legally change your name, and if he has changed his name, okay, cool. But people have speculated that you have stolen a man's identity, a man by the name of Umar Abdullah Johnson, and with all these credentials to hype yourself up, that you stole someone's identity. Someone even pointed out this that said, oh yeah, there's a picture of Umar in the doctoral program at PCOM, but there's no record that he graduated or anything. People are looking you up and they can't find you. And so after that, he basically, of course, goes off on people for fact checking him, even though he said that you can fact check me. Because this woman on the radio show was asking him these questions, and she was like, Dr. Umar, why can't you just answer the question? And he's like, because I've already answered your question. You do not give straightforward answers, Umar. I'm sorry, but every time people ask you about your credentials and Frederick Douglass, you do not give a straightforward answer. And notice the word games and the buzzwords and the mazes, the word mazes he uses. It's like running around to find the actual answer. He hopes you either get tired of asking and just believes it, or you just don't go digging any deeper. And that's the vibe I'm getting from him. Now, aside from the credentials thing, yes, I agree that he doesn't necessarily need credentials like that to benefit the community. But like Alquan said, you were the one bragging about it. You were the one putting yourself out there like you were that. And when people tried to look you up, because you need to stop fooling some of yourselves, black folks who follow him. Not every black folk is dumb. Not every black person is dumb. You have black people who are actually psychologists, who are actually in the medical field, in the real estate game, who are actually in certain fields that he claims to be in, and they're looking things up. Umar claimed that he was on the list of like Black Psychologists Association. I looked him up. I looked up that list of Black Psychologists Association. His name is not on it. The only Johnson I see was a name by, I think, Betty or Betsy Johnson. It was a woman. The only Johnson I see was a woman. So he's not on it. But I guarantee you look that up and you say, hey man, I didn't find you. He curses you out. He basically goes after you. But you said we could check. And when we couldn't find anything, how dare we check? I find that funny. Let's move along to the Frederick Douglass thing. So this was in 2015. I found out that he was saying that, yes, I'm a Frederick Douglass descendant. I'm a descendant of Frederick Douglass. You know, Frederick Douglass is my ancestor, you know, things like that. And at first when he said that, I was a little bit iffy. I'm like, how do you know you're a descendant of Frederick Douglass? You know, I was kind of iffy about that. But then I said, okay, this is a man who's dropping knowledge on history, our ancestry. It makes sense that he would go and look up his ancestry and he would find out that he was a descendant of Frederick Douglass. Okay, so I'm thinking, because this man, and that's the charisma he had. That's the fact that he can just say anything, and if you're new to him, you will believe it. He's basically dropping knowledge on our history, you know, dropping gems on our history. So I'm thinking, okay, he just knows his stuff, so it'll make sense. And he'll go back into history. You know what? So I let that slide, okay? But over the years, especially in that long video on Black Anonymous pages where the woman is reading off of the essay, you should go look that up. And I will try to put like the link in the description. I will try to, you know, put that down below. So just keep a lookout for that. She basically reads off the essay. And in the essay, it says that, you know, the Frederick Douglass family, even on the Roland Martin show where he got exposed, the Frederick Douglass family came out and said, you're not a descendant of Frederick Douglass. You're not related to us. We don't have a link to you. We don't have records. Your name is not on the plaque. Like, the Douglass family came out and said, this man is a liar. This man is a fraud. And, you know, then he tries to, you know, sweep it up and, you know, polish it up and said, no. When I said I'm a descendant of Frederick Douglass, I mean that I am a descendant of Bailey. But you never claimed Bailey in your lectures because you know Frederick Douglass's name would have gotten you more out there, would have gotten you more praise and recognition. You knew that. So you never mentioned Bailey. But if you wanted to be more accurate, you would have said that. You even tried to claim that you were related to Harriet Tubman, remember? If you guys don't see that video, he tries to claim that he's possibly related to Harriet Tubman. It's as if he tries to claim to be related to everybody so he can get more fame. At this point, it's not even looking like he wants to help the Black community. It just looks like he wants more fame. You know what I'm saying? And trust me, fame is a hell of a drug. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? As someone who claims to be so humble, fame is a hell of a drug, okay? He even tried to lie on the Roland Martin show that he was still a descendant, even though there was like the evidence from the Douglass family and the Bailey family, because Terrence Bailey, right after the Roland Martin, made a video about how he was not related and how the school was a scam from the start. You know, he tried to even further polish it up and said, I never said I was a descendant. I've only claimed kinsman. I never said I was a blood relative or a descendant. They think that I only meant that I came straight from the loin of Frederick Douglass. No, we knew you don't come from the loin of Frederick Douglass. We knew that, okay? You basically were trying to say that you were a direct descendant. You have said this multiple times in multiple videos. He even tried to say, hey, I have more videos on the internet than any other scholar. I traveled around the world more than any other scholar. There is video evidence on YouTube where you stated, I'm a descendant of Frederick Douglass. I'm blood relative of Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass is my ancestor. You have said that multiple different ways. You have said that multiple times. So there is evidence on the internet out loud and proud that you are a descendant of Frederick Douglass. You even said it on the Breakfast Club. Okay? People can always go back to that interview. I find it funny. You even try to lie even when there's evidence to back it up that you're lying. It's not that you have to be a descendant of Frederick Douglass. A lot of us are descendants of people who may or may not be famous, but let's just be honest, that still doesn't negate the work you do, but you keep lying. You know, I find that funny. And that also goes to the narcissism and the arrogance that people say you have. It doesn't look good for you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you keep lying. Trust me, even when the original family is coming out and saying that, no, this man is a liar, this man is a fraud, we have no records. And come to find out, it was Umar's father that was saying that, yeah, I did the DNA test and I found out that what I originally told my son was wrong, was a lie. We are not descendants of Frederick Douglass. We are not related to the family. We are not related to Douglass or Bailey. You know, we are not related to any of them. And, you know, he kind of hesitated to tell the world that. And I think what it is because like a lot of black folks, when you got caught in a lie, even if you never intended to lie, when you got caught, you are embarrassed. And Jamal Johnson, or you know, the person who is Umar Johnson's father, is embarrassed. You know, not only that, because his son has told a long trail of lies that have, in a way, are hard to take back. So he's just like, man, I'm embarrassed for my son. I'm embarrassed. I'm sorry. Like, from what you said, you've basically told your son this, and now it's come back to bite both of you in the butt, and you feel like there's no turning back, but you know you need to tell the truth, and you just don't know how to do it. So I sort of feel sorry for him, but then sort of not. But then again, yeah, Umar Johnson has lied that he was a descendant of Frederick Douglass. Even after being found out that this wasn't the truth, he's still trying to go off of it. But now he's using Bailey. He's like, yeah, I'm a descendant of Bailey. Even on the Roland Martin show, notice the little word games, notice the maze, the mind games he was using on us. Saying, okay, here's how I'm related. I never said I was a descendant. I said I was kinsman, and I was related to Bailey, which he never said before until now. I was related to the Bailey part of Frederick Douglass. I'm related to the cousin and half brother of Frederick Douglass, so that's how I'm related to Frederick Douglass. So here it is. This person married that person. This person had a baby by that person. This person was with this person. And I'm like, there's no straightforward answer when he's trying to answer these questions about his credentials or being related to Frederick Douglass. And I feel like that is why people can't trust you. This is why people believe you're a fraud. So yeah, that is my opinion on the situation. Again, leave a comment, like, comment, subscribe. You know, don't forget to turn on the notification bell if you want to be notified about a new video. I will be making a part 4 to this, and in that video I will be trying to talk about the whole school situation, and feel free to tune in. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.